I'm in the mood to fight. Such accuracy, Mrs. Foster. How can you do it? Pleased to make your acquaintance. Oh, get in. Good night. Farewell. There it is. Aperitifs are served. Range. Temper. Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. Mrs. Foster. Pleased to make your acquaintance. That one had no chance. This one's tenacious. Such accuracy, Mrs. Foster. How can you do it? Pleased to make your acquaintance. Tight. Forever. It's back. Did I pique your interest? Mrs. Foster from range. That's better. If you want something done right. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Such accuracy, Mrs. Foster. How can you do it? Flashbound, see it? Next, Mrs. Foster. This one's tenacious. Good night. Come on, Mrs. Foster. There it is. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Mrs. Foster from range. Aperitifs are served. Sleep tight. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Such accuracy, Mrs. Foster. How can you do it? Aperitifs are served. Good night, This one's tenacious. Mrs. Foster from range. Here! Did I pique your interest? That one had no chance. Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. Temper. Mrs. Foster from range. Fletcher's cloaked. This one's tenacious. There it is. Mrs. Foster from range. Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. Mrs. Foster. And she's back. Physician, heal thyself. Eulogize that. Aperitifs are served. This one appears a wee bit vexed, Mrs. Foster. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Sleep tight. This one's tenacious. Cloaked no more. Good night, farewell. Did I pique your interest? Mrs. Foster from range. This one's tenacious. Temper. Lord one had no chance. Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. There it is. This one's tenacious. Such accuracy, Mrs. Foster. How can you do it? It's back. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Eulogize that. Aperitifs are served. This one appears a wee bit vexed, Mrs. Foster. Mrs. Foster from range. Your acquaintance. Cloaked no more. Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. Mrs. Foster from range. There it is. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Mrs. Foster doesn't miss those. Gracious. Get in. Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. Mrs. Foster from range. If you want something done right, yourselves a scrape. Who wants to get rich today? That one? Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. Faster. Temper, temper. This one's tenacious. Mrs. Foster from... Aperitifs are served. Float no more. Mrs. Foster doesn't miss those. Whatever. Did I... Oh, get in! Mrs. Foster from me. It's back. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Such accuracy, Mrs. Foster. How can you do it? This one's tenacious. This one appears... Sleep tight. Mrs. Foster presents her introduction. Mrs. Foster. This? Mrs. Foster from range. Did I pique your interest? Pleased to make your acquaintance. Float. Mrs. Foster. Eyes! My eyes! Aperitifs are served. Whatever. Bye-bye. Did I pique your interest? Mrs. Foster from range. Back. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Mrs. Foster doesn't miss those. Did I... That one had no chance. And she's back. Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. Did I pique your interest? Mrs. Foster. This one's tenacious. This one appears a wee bit vexed, Mrs. Foster. Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. Such accuracy, Mrs. Foster. How can you do it? Pleased to make your acquaintance. No chance. Whatever. I better... Eulogize that. This one's tenacious. It just closed. Faster. Temper, temper. Mrs. Foster from range. And poison. Oh, get in. I better teach the serve. Such accuracy, Mrs. Foster. How can you do it? Whatever. Pleased to make your acquaintance. No chance. Did I pique your interest? Mrs. Foster from range. I better teach the serve. Mrs. Foster from range. This one's tenacious. Sleep tight. Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. Mrs. Foster doesn't miss those. If you want something done right. Did I pique your interest? Mrs. Foster from range. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Mrs. Foster doesn't miss those. This one's tenacious. He said, such. Oh, you do it. We have ourselves a scrape. Pleased to make your acquaintance. There. It's fun. Love He loves money. Aperitifs are served. That's a flashbang. Mrs. Foster from range. Did I pique your interest? Mrs. Foster doesn't miss those. Okay. Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. Who wants to get rich today? Aperitifs for sale. Your day! Whatever. Good night, farewell. Pleased to make your acquaintance. No more. Eulogize that. Did I pique your interest? Temper, temper. Faster. Accuracy, Mrs. Foster. How can you do it? This one's... whatever. There's something cloaked. Mrs. Foster? Mrs. Foster? Did I pique your interest? Oh, get in! Temper, temper. This one appears a wee bit vexed, Mrs. Foster. Range. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Oh, that's happening! Oh, shit! Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. Pleased to be... I'm poisoned! Looks like markets are about to open. And... Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. Faster. Sleep tight. This one's tenacious. There it is. Such accuracy. accuracy, Mrs. Foster. How did I pique your interest? Mrs. Foster? Mrs. Foster. This one's tenacious. Temper, temper. This one appears a... Foster. Adjust. Did I pique your interest? Cloaked, no... That one had no chance. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Temper, temper. Flashbound, see it? Aperitifs are served. Mrs. Foster doesn't miss those. Mrs. Foster presents her introductions. This one appears a wee bit next, Mrs. Foster. Mrs. Foster from the... That's better.